Hi, I'm Miha and he's Josip, and we're just part of the Croatia Infiltration team. This is like our first Q&A video where we would like to cover some frequently asked questions we got from you guys and discuss like this whole project and the future of the project and some of our ideas that we have for the future.
You can continue, you're doing good.
This is like the intro, I don't know.
Good intro.
So Croatia Infiltration is a photographic video group from Zagreb, Croatia that does urban exploration, or urbex for short. That basically means we are into abandoned architecture and want to document the remains we can find from similar architecture here in Croatia, but also further in Europe and eventually world.
Yeah, think globally. A few years ago we started doing videos because up to now we were doing photos, and we realized that with videos we can show our locations, expressions, and ultimately adventures that we have much better in a video format. So that's why we started YouTube, and yeah, we're kicking out episodes every 2 weeks.
Yeah, but also the process how we got like this video. As we first started off, we were just regular explorers, photographers, and we got some job offers because we found like we were one of the first urban explorers, if we were the first urban explorers here in Croatia. So we got some job offers, and that eventually led us to found a production company. And as well, I'm an architect, Matti is an architect, he's a pilot, but we're really into filming, and film is our passion. So we wanted to do like our whole thing, and this whole video project is like the result of all that work.
Yeah, nicely said. How's the ride?
Bumpy and long.
It's called a roller coaster. So we started taking photos, and the idea there was to put the photos up on a blog, and everything started with a blog. Yeah. So that was the reason to share our explorations, actually for you to share yours, and I joined in a few months after that. And it all started from there. We had a mutual passion for not only exploration, but for adventure as well. So to be in the outdoors,
to do something that's not like ordinary things, you know.
Yeah, get out of the city and everything else. And also we had a natural curiosity to see what's behind the building, a wall, a mountain, a hill, or whatever. So that went together very nicely. We started developing photo skills and started to improve them as well. And that actually led to one of our interesting work things, whatever you want to call them. So bottom line, we had a guy contact us from actually London. He was like, yo guys, you're doing pretty interesting stuff. Would you want to do it for money and help me organize an event? And we're like...
Yeah, we're just kids, man. We were like the first semester of faculty, and I remember he just told us, no, I'll guide it through the process. So he was kind of like a mentor.
Yeah, and we're very, like Kevin, if you're watching this, we love you, bro. So it was an amazing experience because we've grown through that period quite a lot. We gotten a bit more serious, not a lot, but it was really nice, and we also opened ourselves to the business world as well, because that forced us to open a company and to start actually considering this to be a source of income, a career, whatever. And it's actually very nice, and I think one of the best things in the world that you can do something that you like.
Yeah.
You know.
But I would like also point out that at first we were like into this event planning and event management, not so much in filming. But as we got diverse projects along the way, we started to do like production jobs, and it happened the same way. Basically, a guy called us, hey, would you like to work in production? We're like, we don't know anything about production. No, I'll be your mentor. Yeah. We kind of have luck in this thing, and that's how it happened. And I, for instance, found my complete passion. It's film, because I was studying architecture. I just wanted to finish the school, but film is something I would like to do. And also, like our current editor, Mirko Cukor, we also worked like on his film. The movie project on all like low budget trash films, for which he won awards, and it was like an amazing experience learning to shoot things.
Got the golden chainsaw.
Yeah. And Mirko now is our editor.
He's behind the camera.
Yeah, he's behind the cameraman and editor at the same time for the Q&A video.
Yeah, but what I want to say that the business part of this is actually secondary. So the first and primary part is for us to have fun and to enjoy doing what we do. You know, we're lucky that we can make some money out of it, and we're trying to make it a full 24-hour job, whatever. But the focus is still to explore good barbecue, a lot of mayo, like mayonnaise with chicken, preferably. Overnights, nights with stars, no homo. You know, it's just like to have a good time, get good materials, and have fun and create like nice memories.
Yeah, I would say like the epiphany of all this is like the Infiltration series, because that happened like in 2019. All of this experience and memories and everything we had, we realized, okay, damn it, we need to do something with all of this and like do something concrete with it. And we decided to do our own series in the Infiltration series. And it's also a process. I mean, we're learning. I think we're on a good track. I think we're like upping our game constantly, and we just need to keep pushing the tempo. I don't know, just do it further and never stop doing it. You know.
Yeah, roller coaster, as I said.
Yeah, the ride so far.
That's actually a very interesting thing because it's connected to the way this community functions. Everybody wants to have a unique picture, know of a unique location and so on. So they don't share the locations of the location. Mm-hmm. So it's up to us to look at the photo of the things that we want to visit and try to see where that could have been taken. So try to spot some particular landmark or topography features, or just plain simply go through the comments of the pictures or video or whatever and try to dig up some relevant information where that could possibly be. So pretty much everybody does that for locations that they want to see. They try to find the approximate locations, get help from others and so on. But when we do, we ultimately put all of them in a map. And then from that map, we try to figure out what our narrative can be, where we can go, what we want to visit, and I don't know, we have 50, 60, whatever locations, and then we try to narrow it down, pretty much.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
Well, basically, after we pinpoint all the locations on a map, we end up with like 50, 60, 70 locations, depending on the country. The next step is to shortlist the locations, and we try to decide what kind of narrative and how many episodes we're making, and what locations are relevant to the type of topic we have. So that's like the next step from there. But
at the same time, the locations themselves dictate the narrative. We can go to Italy and talk about communist monuments, you know.
I mean, we can, but it wouldn't make any sense.
True.
Yeah, but after we shortlist them, we then go through the whole process of making a script, which we basically don't follow, and exactly. That's how we do things around here, you know.
This is the most perfect explanation ever. Yeah. But dude, you forgot to mention about the trip part and planning the cars and whatever.
Yeah, how to actually get there.
Yeah.
That's like the third phase. So the moment we like have shortlisted the locations, we have a script ready to go. The next step is to actually do a budget, see how much money do we need for a trip, and how will we get to the country we're talking about. For instance, up to this point we were mainly focused on visiting Europe, so it was plainly straightforward. But there was a difference. For instance, when we wanted to go to Hungary or Bosnia and Herzegovina, we basically took our car and went there via the highway. But when we went to Portugal, it was a completely different story, because it's much further away than the countries before, and we had to take 2 plane rides and rent a car. And the whole trip was much more expensive.
Complicated, yeah. Sorry, at the end you still need to have your own car, because you can't just take your regular local bus to an abandoned building that you want to see. You need to be mobile. So wherever you want to go or whatever you take, at the end you're going to have your own car or some kind of mode of transport that you're going to use to get somewhere way off the main road.
I mean, especially if you're making videos, because as Josip mentions, we carry a lot of equipment. Yeah. And shooting photos is one thing. You don't have to have much. You can actually go with just a backpack and a tripod. But for video, you have to have a lot more things, and having your own car or rent a car with enough space in the back is like the only way to do it, especially because a lot of locations are not in like urban areas. You can't get there with like public transport, and in some cases we even have to go on like mountaintops with the car. And
True. Well, we have a lot of equipment, so much that we cannot bring everything that we actually want, even though I would always like to bring everything. But the point is that we need to be very selective and very smart with what we take. We usually, of course, take water, supplies, first aid, whatever we need just to be outdoors.
don't forget the barbecue.
Yeah, plus barbecue, grill and everything. Mayo as well. And afterwards, because we're telling our stories through photos and videos, we bring our cameras, tripods, and so on and so on. Next step, if the location is underground, you need light, so lights, batteries, and so on, and diffusers, whatever. That all stacks up really, really fast. And if your location is on top of a mountain, you need to be very selective of what you're going to bring. So we have situations where we needed to hike up the mountains and then go into underground bunkers, ski down, or I don't know, for one location we needed to go to the other hill with a telescopic sight. Just to scout out the other hill. So, and with radios we communicated where the other team to go, and so on and so on. So we have a lot of equipment. We just need to be very smart with what we use, and actually with experience you get like the feeling of to know what you're going to need and where.
Yeah, but I would like to add, because Josip had like a lot of more experience with mountaineering and equipment before I had like the experience. And when he came to the team, one of the first crazy expeditions we did was the Guslica.
Yeah.
The Guslica exploration, and it was also during snow, of course. And this was like my first big mountaineering and even sleeping on location, like the first experience I've had with it. But I remember that like I took this huge backpack, I think it was like 90 plus liters, and I filled it like to the top, man. I could sleep for like 2 weeks on location, survive a nuclear holocaust even, but...
fun fact.
And actually, that's the date when Fukushima happened. We were up there, and it's completely off topic, I know, but it doesn't matter. We were up there, and I remember I wanted to call my mother to tell her we were alive, and we went like to this small... Chimney, and outside it was a blizzard, and I got the signal and told my mom we were okay, and she was like, oh, Fukushima, there was a nuclear accident, and I was like, God damn.
We're in a nuclear bunker as we speak, so we're good.
Imagine if you like wake up the next day and like something happened and you're like survived because you slept in a nuclear base on top of a hill. But yeah, the point was we always have a lot of equipment. We have too much equipment to carry all at once. We need a bigger car, we need a bigger boat, we need bigger everything if we want to bring everything, but the most important part of it, we need a good plan. And if you have that, we're set.
You are on topic, dude. What's a script?
Good point. A script is something that we like realize we need to have, but we oftentimes like use it as an example for like pieces of information that are relevant. But I would say that like our script changed from time as we gained experience. For instance, when we went to like Bosnia and Herzegovina, which was the first time we actually made a script, we had a plan with 4 or 5 locations per day, just basic rough info about like who built it, who designed it, and what the monument is about. And as we went on, we realized it's not enough. We needed something more tangible and to do like a narrative. So I would say that during like as we evolved, also the script evolves with us. Yeah. And
but not only the script, because we're free to do whatever we like. We just relatively recently started doing videos, so we're still experimenting with the format, the type of script, the type of level of documentarism that we want to bring to these episodes. So we're still free to do whatever, and we're still searching for ourselves. That's why I noted the first episode of Italy, which was I think really different from everything else and really next level game. Even though we still couldn't visit all the locations that we wanted to because of time constraints, light constraints, blah 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 blah. But eventually it ended up into being a very nice episode, and I think one of our best up to date.
But also, that whole episode, the first one, was a completely different narrative on paper. When we got home and when we like started to pull all the things together, it changed like multiple formats before this episode happened. But I would like to say the Povelja episode is one of my personal favorites because that was the episode where I really felt that we're on the right trace, and I felt that this was like some sort of final form of the videos we're trying to do from the start, because the point of our videos is not just completely urbex. We always wanted to do something a bit different, and I think that what we can offer as architects, as people who like to travel, is not just focus on abandoned architecture, but also include like this whole documentary piece about the city, about the context, about the location we're trying to cover, which takes a lot more time, but we pulled it off in Povelja, and I was really happy with the result of it.
Any ideas?
Yeah, from my personal experience, I would say the Fukushima shoot was one of the most complicated things ever. Firstly, because I was in Japan, not in Europe. Secondly, I did not know the language. Third, it was like the second day when I arrived to Japan, I was like completely jet lagged. And for the fourth reason, it was like the radiation levels were very, very high. And in one moment, all the camera gear and everything stopped working. So I kind of freaked out, wanted to throw my camera on the floor and just go home. And then I realized I can't go home. I'm stuck in Fukushima.
Yeah, he was alone as well. So
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with the time we almost died on Velebit Mountain.
Good times.
Yeah, so the idea was this. We were bored in Zagreb and it was snowing pretty much in like Dubrovnik where it never snowed, and we had like 3.5 meters of snow in Zavižan, which is one of the highest peaks and the snowiest peaks of our biggest mountain, Velebit.
And it was also avalanche season, I remember.
Details.
Yeah.
And so what we're gonna do, well, yeah, let's go hike up to the hill and visit an abandoned base and then snowboard down the mountain like normal people do, you know? And we actually calculated our trip to be like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours to get to the mountain hut, you know, the mountain shelter. And of course it took us like 12, 13, 14 hours. It was dark, pitch dark. We came to the top of the mountain and a big blizzard hit us. So we couldn't see anything in front of us, behind us, below us, above us. We couldn't see anything. And we were guided by a GPS. I had a wrist Sunto X10 GPS, and we just had the waypoint of the mountain lodge in our watch and just like followed that small dot. We were walking with our hands on each other's, I wanted to say waist, shoulders. And we used that just to get lost, because every few steps the snow would just cover our footsteps, so we had no idea where we came from or whatever. Bottom line, we entered to the roof because the hut was completely filled up with snow. So there was actually like from the roof there was like a small tunnel built digged out just to the door, because it was 3 meters below us and so on. Yeah.
The thing that I knew that we were kind of saved were like a beam of like 1.5 meters of light, and that's the only thing you could see. But before that, I was thinking that we're probably gonna die. Honestly, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
But in my experience, I would say that during the filming of Italy, we went to this like small town. And what was creepy before anything creepy happened was that this town is like a ghost town. Nobody lives there, and you find these old monuments from like World War I, World War II, and a lot of people that died. So that kind of explains why it's a ghost town. But what happened is that this one, like a strange guy approached us, and he was looking at us very, very strangely. And we kind of felt like he knew that we were gonna go and enter the school that we wanted to shoot. So we kind of like drove away, and he started following us. And I remember that he was like waving with something as he was driving behind us with his hands. Nevertheless, we returned back. He wasn't there. We tricked him. We went to the school, did our job, but I felt quite uneasy the whole time. It's like the first time that happened to me that I really felt bad doing something. Yeah. We had like this something's wrong feeling, and I couldn't wait to get out. But nevertheless, the evening we talked to like this urban explorer friend, and he told us then that when he was in the location, also he was approached by a guy who was completely crazy, and he had a gun and threatened him. So from that point on, I completely changed my perspective when exploring, because who knows how close to death maybe this experience was.
That's like sudden realization.
Yeah, and also it's damn Italy again. What happened like 3 days after that, I was completely exhausted from that point. As I said before, I had no concentration. I had to drive. The whole plan flipped on us. So I was driving and filming, and we were driving like 7,000 kilometers in a week. So I was like, beyond exhausted. So I could only focus on minor details. And we entered this abandoned church, and I remember filming like this crypt that was broken into, and I like thought, it's broken into. Who knows what happened here? And I wanted to get a shot from the altar. And as I approached the altar, I realized like scattered bones, pieces of skulls, like this broken knife and a pipe that was used to break this sarcophagus open. And then like this terror hit me. And then I realized that the whole church was covered in graffiti, satanic graffiti, like pentagrams, inverted crosses and stuff like that. And this experience like literally hit me so hard, because this was the first time I saw like a dead body, even if it were just bones, but it's not something you would expect to see, you know.
But the pictures were cool.
Yeah, the pictures were cool. And I also, I won't say that. Cut. I would have to go with Italy again, because this was like the best learning experience I had, and it boosted my confidence in filming a lot, because we had like this whole elaborate plan planned out, a lot of locations. It was like 7 days, 4 people. We even rented audio equipment to up our game, and everything was like set. And a day before the trip, everything backfired. 2 people couldn't go. It was just me, Josip, and Tomasz, our friend from Hungary, who we met during exploring.
Hi, Tomasz.
Yeah, hi, Tomasz. And Josip had to go work on his job like 3 days after we went. So I kind of prepped myself for the moment where I'm gonna be all alone driving, because Tomasz doesn't have a driver's license, and he also drives planes but does not have a driver's license. So I had to be like the designated driver, as well as film things, and it wouldn't be so complicated if the locations were like accessible, you can walk into them. A lot of locations were required like hopping fences, and when I say fences, those are like 3-meter high fences, and in the middle of like town squares, people were quite aggressive. But overall, when I returned home after all of this, I felt completely like satisfied, and I felt like I could do anything, you know?
Yeah, but dude, we were at least in civilization. Like when we went to Bulgaria a few years before that, like going there, we went from in one day we went from Zagreb to Varna, which is on the Black Sea, so the east part of Bulgaria. And I mean, it was very difficult for the guys that were driving. I was sleeping in the back. And I mean, while we were there, we visited a lot of, I would say, even more difficult locations, because we had like people coming to us with no fingers, taking our fire in the middle of nowhere and throwing it in the river. Yeah, and we were like, what the hell is happening? And at the same time, we ended up in neighborhoods where you had like street gangs racing horses with chariots, you know? So like, dude. So I would say that Bulgaria was a more adventurous trip in terms of overall experience. Yeah. Location-wise, it was also very amazing, because you have like brutalist socialist architecture. It's like big-ass monuments that are huge, a lot of concrete, a lot of steel. Really impressive to see. Really unique to that like Soviet region of the East.
Ex-Soviet region.
Ex-Soviet, yeah. So yeah. Cool as well.
Yeah, but also I would just like to say for that the best part for me from the Bulgarian, besides the whole like experience and everything that happened on the road, was the fact that we actually managed to visit the Bozluja monument. That right now it received funding and is being renovated. So we probably were one of the last people that documented the state it was before renovation. So it's kind of a special thing, because I think that all of our work may be cool now, but I think in like next 10 or 20 years it will have a more specific value, yeah, because it will be like more like some historical documents of some sorts, and I'm quite happy we did it, you know.
True.
I would say the Bosnian series, the first thing we did. Why? Because it was like the first planned trip we had. I would say the snow was awesome, and visiting the monuments during the snow was like surreal as to do. And besides that, I really like the architecture. It's really unique, and the whole trip. The Bosnian people were great.
Yeah, I mean, we're here, we're close by, we know the language.
Yeah,
So...
but we also discussed it. It's the first time we went to Bosnia, and we live in Croatia. That's like a neighboring country. So for the first time to experience Bosnian culture was to do your own documentary about it. Felt quite cool. I don't know.
But yeah, but at the same time, we were quite stupid because we were like 27, 28, and that was our first time really visiting some of the bigger cities in Bosnia, which is quite a shame from our side. So if you've never been, not just for the abandoned architecture, go visit Bosnia. It's freaking amazing.
And your favorite episode?
Episode or location?
Episode.
Episode. Well, I had to say the Italian first part, the Villas and Asylums episode, because we were talking about a relatively dark theme. You know, when you're, I mean, you know the feeling when you're walking through the sanatoriums and everything, when you've been to a place and where you're at a place where you know like serious stuff went down before. When you see the tubs for...
the tub immersion therapy.
Yeah.
But you can feel the energy inside the place. It kind of, you like absorb it. It gets kind of dark.
True, but the question was for the episode. So that's my favorite episode because we actually managed to give that to the viewer. So we managed to show that in one of our episodes, which I think is like really cool.
Yeah, I would also add that for that experience, the cool thing about that trip was the whole kind of summer jungle vibe there, and the thing that when we found the hidden entrance in the former hospital, it's something that was completely not in the script. It's one of the good examples why you should be prepared to leave the script behind because you can find even something better. Yeah. And we found this like tunnel in the episode, and it led to like this completely another part of the building, and it, in my opinion, it was scary as fuck. Yeah,
so you have the core thing, the main theme that goes to the episode, but at the same time you have those small, like fun parts that are like that wall, the entrance that says don't enter that inside, you know, so like cool stuff.
I even remember a small detail. Tomasz was searching for the main villa, the Villas Bertoli. You were like saying to me, "Mia, come see. This is like a cool building." And I was like, "God damn it, Josip, it's not part of the plan. Why are you?"
Yeah.
Then we found like this whole thing that was like the main pillar of the episode. So that was
too many cool things. So the post-production process for our videos is relatively simple. You can break it down in 3 parts, editing, narration, and translation. The thing is, whatever we envision is going to happen in that episode. So whatever script we have, or you have, when you get abroad and when you get to one of those locations, you have no idea if you're actually going to get inside. So if you're actually going to be able to visit all the things that you plan to visit. So it ultimately means that you will not shoot everything that you needed to shoot to make your script good. So when we come back, we see what we have, and then we pretty much create a new script, or we use what we can to keep the original script alive.
Yeah, but the point is that now with experience, we would like to actually try and have one script that will follow through each shooting and deliver it to the editor, and to be like this concise idea that we had from the start.
Yeah, but that's going to be possible in the Croatian series because we're from Croatia, we visited all the locations here, and we know exactly which locations we can access and what to expect. So it's not going to be a problem because we are going to be able to get all the footage that we need to get our script right in full.
And also, I could say that like I'm kind of proud because when we first started, the editing process lasted more than a month. Now we got it down to around 2 weeks, and that's why we feel comfortable that we can release new content every 2 weeks as we announced.
Hopefully,
yeah. We hope that now you have a better understanding of what goes on behind the scenes and how much work it is to pull one of our episodes off. For that reason, we created a Patreon page. It's basically a means to support our work.
And we do love our work. We've been doing it for the last 10 years, and hopefully we'll be doing it for the next 10, if we are alive, that is. So if you decide to become a patron, you would help us fund our projects, fund our equipment, and make us go further and longer to more adventurous adventures.
Yeah, you'll also be getting early access to our videos. We're offering t-shirts and hoodies, as well as stickers and patches. Basically, all the information you need is down below in the highlighted comment, as well as in the description. Thank you for watching our video, and see you again next time.
Dude, you nailed it.